Hi there, guys. In this video we're going to have a quick look at a box of vintage Brenneke 12 gauge slugs for reloading. Now this box of slugs was given to me by an older gentleman from our ski club. Somebody gave them to him. He happens to be a barber, and because he's a barber he knows a lot of people, and somebody came into his barber shop and gave him this box of slugs figuring he might be able to use it. So he didn't have any use for it, so he passed it along to me, so that was nice of him. But anyway, kind of a vintage item here. You can see that it's marketed by Stoger, and you can tell it's fairly old because it says made in West Germany. I would assume that these are probably at least 30 years old, maybe a little better than that, based upon the box and the contents. Anyway, it's a nice two-piece slip-top box here, and inside there is one slug missing, of course. We've got 9 here instead of 10. But we'll take one out, you can have a look at it. For those of you who are not familiar with the Brenneke style of slug, you'll find them to be kind of an interesting construction. These are noted for being quite accurate and also for good penetration. Probably one of the best slugs you can get in a sort of a traditional full bore style slug for a smooth bore shotgun. And as you can see, we've got a multiple piece construction. We've got the hard swaged slug at the front with these ribs on it. Now some people refer to that as rifling. It really isn't rifling. It's more of a method to make the slug big enough to fill barrels properly and still be able to go through a choke. That's really what the ribs do. They angle them strictly for marketing purposes. They do not impart any appreciable spin to the slug. There's some aerodynamic reasons for that. When the slug is flying through the air, there's basically a boundary layer of air which does not move over the slug. There's a shock wave that comes off the front end of it. So there's really no particular amount of moving air that would be able to make these things act as a weather vane and make them turn. So those ribs on slugs, all of these types of slugs, are really just meant to make them safe to be shot through chokes, not for spinning, although the marketing people decided to tell people that they were there to make the shotgun slug spin like a bullet from a rifled barrel. So just more marketing bullshit. Anyway, as you can see, we've got the slug at the front. We've got a hard card wad underneath the slug to support it. There's a fiber felt type wad under that, and a nitro card at the back to act as a gas seal. And to hold the whole sandwich together, we've got a wood screw, a plain old slotted head wood screw. And the maker has printed their information on the bottom, original Brenneke and Germany. So a really interesting slug. You can buy these in loaded ammunition today. I don't think you can buy them as a component for reloading. So we'll set that down and we'll have a look at some of the other stuff that came with this box. And we got this box of spacers, which are kind of interesting as well. And I'll haul a couple of those out. And these are basically meant to go on top of the slug after you've loaded it into the shotgun shell. These spacers go on top, and they basically keep the slug down against the powder charge and give the crimp a place to form. So those would sit on top of the slug in that fashion there after the slug has been loaded. So there's that. And then we've got some instructions here, if I can get them out of the package. Nothing ever wants to come out when you have a video camera running. So these came with some loading instructions and data. And you can see how yellow the paper is. These have been around a while. So it gives all the usual warnings about not substituting components. And these are not to be used with a roll crimp. Tells you to use 100 pounds of wad pressure. All that usual stuff. Don't change powders. Weigh all your powder charges. And it gives you all the various usual stuff that they give you for loading. And then it gives you a set of charge tables. Oh, we have a nice cutaway here to show you what a loaded round should look like. There's a cross section of the slug showing the wood screw through the whole business. And we got our charge tables here, which is kind of interesting. And these are not, most of these loads are not real high speed. Oh, there's some pretty good ones at the bottom there. 1296 and up to as high as, just over 1500 feet a second. That's pretty good thump. And they're using powders here, which you can still get. DuPont PB, Herco, IMR 4756. So you can get all those powders if you, for some reason, wanted to load these. Winchester 209. You might have a problem finding Remington 57 primers nowadays. It's kind of an obsolete component. Anyway, I just thought that was kind of a neat old collectible item. I don't think I'm going to be reloading these any day because, there's really not much point. There's only 9 of them there, and by the time you got a load that worked, they'd all be gone. So to me, they're more of an interesting thing just to have and for a curiosity. So just thought I'd share that with you. You might find it interesting, and if you didn't, well, can't please everybody. Oh, one more thing before I go. I took these calipers out for a reason here. I just thought I'd show you one of the reasons that these slugs are quite accurate, or have a reputation for being quite accurate, and it's because they're a very large bore filling diameter. So if we measure across the ribs on these, we will find that they are actually, you can see it's 70, they're about 73 caliber. 730, 731 in this case. And that's pretty fat. And that's one of the reasons why these shoot so well. They fit very snugly in most shotgun bores. Shotgun bores vary quite a lot, and having a slug that's big enough to fill the bore is quite important. So these are big and fat, and those ribs will let them swage down safely to match a bore which is smaller than that. And if you should happen to have a choke, the ribs will deform even further to let the slug pass through the choke. So, although in my experience the best accuracy with slugs has been with a straight cylinder bore of uniform dimensions. Most of the people who shoot standard slugs will tell you the same thing. The best slug guns are tightly bored and are uniformly choked. Well, that is to say, no choke all the way through. So, anyway, with that little bit of trivia, I guess I'll end this video and we'll talk to you later.